You wake up, pick up your phone, scroll through your feed, and feel pleasure. You have lunch watching Netflix, and feel pleasure. You buy something online, and feel pleasure. You fall asleep watching random videos, and feel pleasure. Congratulations. You've just lived a perfect day in the society Aldous Huxley predicted almost 100 years ago. A society where constant pleasure isn't freedom. It's imprisonment. In 1932, an English writer wrote about a world where no one suffered, where everyone had access to instant pleasure, where happiness was guaranteed by the state. Sounds like a utopia, right? Well, it's exactly the opposite. Aldous Huxley wasn't describing paradise. He was warning us about hell, disguised as heaven. And the scariest thing? He got almost everything right. While George Orwell showed us a future of control by force, Huxley showed us something much more subtle and much more effective. Control by pleasure. And today, 90 years later, we live exactly that. Only most people don't even realize they're being controlled. You know that feeling that you should be doing something more important, but you can't stop consuming entertainment? Or that constant need to always be stimulated, always connected. Happy? This is no coincidence. But before we continue, you need to understand one fundamental thing about human nature that Huxley discovered and that few philosophers have dared to admit. In Brave New World, Huxley created soma, a perfect drug that eliminates any emotional discomfort without side effects. Sounds like science fiction? Look around. His applications do just that. Every notification is a dose. Every like is a dose. Every auto-loaded video is a dose. Every impulse purchase is a dose. And just like the soma of fiction, these modern doses have a very specific function: to keep you too busy to question the system. Think about it. When was the last time you were genuinely bored? When was the last time you had to confront the silence of your own mind without seeking immediate distraction? Huxley realized something that ancient philosophy already knew. Boredom, discomfort, restlessness. These are not flaws in the human system. They are resources. They are what drive us to question, to create, to evolve. But in a society addicted to constant pleasure, we eliminate the very moments that could lead us to transcendence. It's as if we clip our own wings and then wonder why we can't fly. And here comes the darkest part of all this. In Huxley's world, people are conditioned from birth to accept their place in society. They are not forced, they are programmed to want exactly what the system requires them to want. Now tell me, did you choose to want what you want? Or were you conditioned to want it? Was that playlist you listened to chosen by you or by the algorithm? Those products you need to buy, where does that need come from? That political opinion you defend tooth and nail, did it arise from your critical reflection or from your personalized feed? The genius of modern control isn't in forbidding you to think. It's in keeping you so busy that you don't have time to think deeply. It's in giving you so many superficial options that you believe you have freedom of choice. It's like what a French philosopher once said: modern man is not a slave because he has no freedom. He is a slave because he confuses freedom with the possibility of choosing between brands of soap. Huxley saw this coming. He understood that the most effective totalitarianism would not be one that controls through fear, but one that controls through pleasure. Because when you're being controlled by pain, you know you're being controlled. But when you're being controlled by pleasure, you appreciate it. But things get even deeper when we understand the psychological mechanism behind it. According to behavioral neuroscience researchers, our brains don't distinguish between genuine and artificial pleasure. For them, it doesn't matter whether the dopamine rush comes from a real achievement or an Instagram like. A study by scientists at a European university showed that the brain activation pattern of someone addicted to social media is virtually identical to that of someone addicted to cocaine. The difference? The cocaine addict knows they're addicted. As one behavioral psychologist said in a recent interview, "We have created a society where what should be the exception, constant pleasure, has become the rule. And what should be the rule, effort, contemplation, growth through discomfort, has become the exception." But Huxley went further than neuroscientists. He understood that the problem isn't just neurological or psychological. It's existential. It's philosophical. It's about what it means to be human. And this is where we get to the heart of the matter. In Huxley's society, there is a character named John, the savage. He comes from a reservation where people still live in a primitive way, with pain, with struggle, with questions. When John arrives in advanced civilization, he is horrified, not because people are mistreated, but because they are perfectly content with a life without depth. John sees people who have never questioned the meaning of existence, who have never felt the pain necessary for growth, who have never experienced the existential emptiness that leads to great discoveries about oneself. And then he delivers one of the most devastating lines in literature. But I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin. Think about the depth of this. John is rejecting a perfect society because he understands that artificial perfection is the death of the human soul. Today, we're experiencing exactly this. We have access to more information, more entertainment, and more possibilities for pleasure than any generation in human history. And at the same time, we have record rates of anxiety, depression, and feelings of existential emptiness. It's not a coincidence. It's a consequence. But perhaps the most disturbing thing is realizing how we got here without even noticing. Huxley realized that the best way to control a population is not through a visible dictator, but through an invisible system that makes people control themselves. In his book, no one is forbidden from reading profound books. They simply don't want to read them. No one is prevented from having philosophical conversations. They simply prefer superficial entertainment. So familiar? Today, you have free access to the works of history's greatest philosophers, but you prefer to watch 15-second videos. You have access to complete online university courses, but you prefer to consume content that doesn't require mental effort. It's not your fault, it's design. The system has discovered that it doesn't need to prohibit you from growing intellectually. It just needs to make the alternative more attractive and immediate. It's like that metaphor of the rat in the laboratory. You can leave the cage at any time. But why would you leave if inside the cage there is delicious food, constant entertainment, and guaranteed pleasure? The question is, are you still a free rat? Or have you become a lab rat that believes you are free? And here we come to the point where Huxley becomes truly haunted. But there's something Huxley realized that is perhaps the darkest aspect of this entire analysis. He understood that the problem isn't just the institutions that control us. The problem is that, deep down, we want to be controlled. Think about it. How many times have you had the opportunity to choose the hardest path, the one that would lead you to real growth, and instead chose the easy path? How many times have you known you should do something important, but instead chose distraction? Huxley discovered that human beings have a natural tendency to avoid the responsibility of genuine freedom, because true freedom takes work. It demands difficult choices. It demands confronting your own limitations and fears. It's much more comfortable to let algorithms choose what you'll watch, what you'll buy, even who you'll associate with. It's much easier to follow trending topics than to develop your own thinking. And the scariest thing, when someone tries to show you this, what's your first reaction? Anger? Denial? The urge to go back to your feed? This brings us to the most disturbing conclusion of all. Huxley didn't write Brave New World as a dystopia. He wrote it as a mirror that shows what happens when an intelligent species consciously chooses to sacrifice its intelligence in exchange for comfort. The question that remains is not whether we are living in the world Huxley imagined. That answer is obvious. We are. The question is there still time to choose a different path? Or are we too comfortable in our own gilded prison to want to leave? Because in the end, perhaps Huxley's greatest insight is this: no one can free you if you don't want to be freed. And maybe, just maybe, most people don't. True freedom is hard. It takes work. Sometimes it hurts. But it's the only thing that makes us genuinely human. Because Huxley showed us that in modern society, these two things have become mutually exclusive. And the choice? Well, the choice has always been yours. As long as there's still time to choose.